I told the man at the roadside, so I don't get, frowned upon.
Thank you.
I'll call the meeting back to order. Sorry it took so long. There'll be no formal action taken as part of the closed session. Next is public comment. Council's intention is to preserve the level of respect, courtesy, and civility required to successfully conduct a public business. In this regard, the council should be addressed during the public participation. There you go, thank you. As a collective body and not individually. In order to respect the speaker's time, council members will not engage in dialect or debate with the speaker. However, the council members should feel free to ask the speaker a question or questions once recognized by the council president for the purpose of clarification. Council members can offer comments on the speaker's remarks once the speaker has concluded his or her comments in their allocated 5-minute time frame. First person up.
Good evening, everybody. Michael Saka, 92 Town Road. So last meeting got me thinking when Mr. Dewey was asking about a shovel that was purchased through Amazon. So I did a bunch of Oprahs and kind of opened my eyes to how this town works and whether it's incompetence or just laziness in government employees. First, you have a purchasing manual. There's no signed acknowledgements of anybody who is supposed to be using it, that they've actually read it and they're actually understand it and that they agreed to it. In that purchasing manual, you talk about purchasing cards. There are 3 purchasing cards. In part of my Oprahs, I asked for statements for the 2025 for those cards. I received about 3 months worth of 2 of them. The third one, I received nothing. That should be like a 5-minute lookup where you go into the account and you download the statements. But for some reason, it's gonna take a lot longer. The purchasing manual says there is supposed to be training completion record, a signed contract of understanding for the purchase cards to make sure they understand what misuse is. I was told it's in their personnel files. Well, let me see it. Let me see that they actually signed it, so that when I see the statements, I can see what was personal use. Because in the 3 months of statements I did receive, I see purchases at Wegmans, I see purchases for gift cards. Oh, by the way, the purchasing manual says purchase cards are for emergency purchases only. I didn't know gift cards were emergency purchases. Next, the Amazon account. There's no written policy on how it's being used, or who can use it, or what can be spent on it, because it looks like you can buy anything on it. There's about 25 authorized requisitioners and 3 approvers. So in this building, you have 25 people who can go onto the account and put in requests to buy stuff. Some of that stuff is kind of interesting. A 75-inch color smartboard TV, where is that thing? A mini split air conditioning system, where has that been installed? An iPad and other Apple equipment. A whole bunch of 650-pound limit office chairs. What are capital expenses? Corporations have capital expenses. Do you do capital expenses? What do you consider capital expenses? The purchasing manual talks about that requires an asset inventory number for certain things. What certain things require asset inventory numbers? It doesn't say, it's not detailed enough. When was the last inventory completed? Oh, the procurement cards are not reconciled with anything. And if you can't get the statements, I don't know how you can reconcile it with the purchase orders and the payments. You only have 2 qualified purchasing agents. So I don't know how all this gets done with only those two, and I don't even see their names on most of the stuff anywhere. Next is the $167,000 that was spent on this flock gunshot detection system. Where did that money come from? Did we get a grant for it? Or did we spend it out of our budget? If we got a grant, did the grant cover the whole amount, or did we spend taxpayer money on a system that nobody really needs or wants? And what have we gotten out of it since it's been installed? Back to some expenses. Why are we paying Comcast, Xfinity, whatever it is, monthly charges for the concession stand, for the beach, whatever building that is, when it's only open like 3 months of the year? Why are we paying for the whole year? Does anybody actually look at how do we cut some costs? Why does a concession stand need to pay Comcast every month of the year $200-some? There's other buildings like that too that are only used a few months of the year. The rest of the time it's closed. Still, are we cooking the books? Mr. Dewey asked about a shovel on Amazon. I asked for the whole purchasing record for Amazon for 2025. There's not a single shovel on it. Where does he see a shovel? But what I'm given from the open request, it's not on there. Did somebody try cleaning up stuff out of that before they gave it to me instead of giving me the whole thing? Next, the whole business administrator. I don't even know why she's still here. Don't know why she wasn't fired when she caused 2 of the lawsuits for the way she treated 2 of the people in her department. So I don't even know why she's still here. Did anybody do a background check? Did anybody check her past municipality she worked in, the lawsuits she was involved in there that she caused?
Thank you, Mr. Salka.
Mr. Salk, I can address the one thing that you brought up immediately right now without doing your research, and that would be the gunshot detection system that was through a grant. Chief is here, sir, I believe, didn't we have the first grant expire or something and we had to redo it? Can you refresh my memory on our conversation about that, sir?
No, it was actually just the first vendor was unable to complete it, so we had to go with an alternate vendor.
But that was 100% grant money, no taxpayer money was used, right?
That's correct.
And a gunshot detection system will be like car insurance. It's something you have, but you hope to God you never have to use, right?
I hope not, absolutely.
Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor, Town Council, and residents of Pemberton Township. My name is Marty Graflinger, and I am the president of the BMIA. We have a fabulous community center located on 40 Arbutus Street, built in 1953 by our members, including some of my very own family members. In 1966, we sold the building to the township for the sum of just $1, ensuring it would be available for everyone to use, and we're very proud of that. Before I get into the rest of my remarks, he said that there's internet at the refreshment stand.
Concession stand.
Oh, well, the BMIA does not have internet. We'd be interested in that. That would make our life a lot easier. All right, getting back to this. Before we had our building, we met at the Canoe Club, which was in need of repair back in 1919, prompting the BMIA to establish our own space. For a long time, productions and performances took place there. I'm excited to announce that on February 22nd at 2 p.m., we will hold a local history expo. We'll have the original bills of sale for the land here, old medication prescribed by Dr. Buzansky. Notable groups like the Pemberton Historic Trust and White Spogs will showcase their collections, along with Mr. Joe Anderson, our local star, who will have a special surprise piece of township history that we are very excited about. And I'm not going to tell you what it is. Only Joe and I know that. You'll have to stop by on February 22nd to see what that is. We'd also like to thank the mayor for meeting with us about our wish list, and we appreciate his time and support. While we know that our requests are ambitious, we've spent 106 years working hard for the community, and we feel like we're just getting started. So I do want you to mark your calendars for our Valentine's Day karaoke on February 6th at 7 p.m. This event is free for everyone, and members will enjoy free food and a chance to win our fabulous door prize basket. Membership is only $15 for individuals and $20 for families, so it's a great time to join if you haven't already. Also, our Mardi Gras karaoke is on March 6th at 7 p.m. Everyone is welcome, and we'll have masquerade mask and beads, and again, it's a free event with great fun. On March 22nd at 2 p.m., we'll have our annual Coffee with a Cop featuring Police Chief Glass. Join us for fabulous coffee, pastries, and a chance to engage in a Q&A session. This is a wonderful opportunity to connect with our local law enforcement and discuss any community concerns you may have. Don't forget about our brunch with the Easter Bunny on March 28th at 10 a.m. We'll serve pancakes and breakfast items, and the Easter Bunny will be there for photos. We are in search of businesses to donate Easter baskets for this event. As a 501c3 nonprofit organization, any donations are tax deductible. We would like to give an Easter basket to every child. So if you're a business in town and can donate a basket, we'd be happy to place your name on each one. I am working on visiting each business to ask for help, but you can always reach me at 609-388-1305 via call or text, or email me at bmiorg@gmail.com. Any support will be greatly appreciated, and we will be sure to let our brunch attendees know of your generosity. Lastly, we are collecting Make It Again meals at our membership meetings. Feel free to take a recipe from one of our tables. I also have recipe cards with me tonight. You can build a meal bag and drop it off to one of our events, and your contributions will help us support those in need. So I do have tickets with me for the Easter brunch, and of course I have membership cards if you'd like to do a membership tonight, and then I have the meal cards all with me tonight if anyone needs those. I'd also like to say thank you to Public Works for taking down the tree at our triangle, which is on the corner of Clubhouse and West Lake Shore Drive. That is a triangle that we have adopted. And they also put us on the list for their mulch. Mr. Alex Costa, who is our recording secretary, put in that request. They've already been out there to take down the tree, and I think that's great, and I love the sign. All right, well, have a wonderful night, everybody.
Thank you, Marty.
Evening, everyone.
Go, Alex.
All right, my name's Alexander Costa, 2950 Route 70. First and foremost, thank you to Public Works and all street crew personnel for the county and state for taking care of the roads during this past winter storm. It's always great to see a clear white road when it's all said and done. Secondly, I think it would actually be pretty beneficial to have trackers on the plow trucks and then allow residents to be able to track where the plow trucks are, so people can see, are they coming in my neighborhood next? Or I think it'd be a pretty cool idea. I'm thinking every day. First and foremost, I want to get started on the resolutions. 44-2026, how many refunds will there be? And how much will the total amount of refund be? For 45-2026, how much will this agreement be? And how many years will this be in the contract? 48-2026, I did a little bit of research into this influent pump. It's a very critical piece to the sewer plant from what I could gather in information online. I think it's important that we get it done. I will be requesting the work forms when it's all, when it starts the progress, to track the progress. 49-2026, my question is, will the funds go into the police department? And if so, how will the police department plan to apply these funds? For 50-2026, my question is, why are we rejecting this grant? As I went back into the minutes and I saw that it passed 5-0. So what changed and why are we rejecting it a year and a half later after it passed 5-0? My question for 51-2026 is, does that coincide with 48-2026, or is this just for general emergency repairs? And how much will the contract be? For 52-2026, my question is, for the Fifth Amendment Agreement, will we be getting a grocery store? And when will construction begin for this project? Terry, as you can see, I got a lot of notes. For 53, 2026, my question is, how much acreage will we be preserving with this farm preservation deal that's gonna happen? For 54, 2026, how much will the contract be with environmental resolutions be? For 55, 2026, your Pemberton Borough agreement with the fire company, I think now this will be covering the West End, correct? I think it's important that we have the West End covered, but if they're gonna be showing up to, a house fire, as one councilman so famously said at the last meeting, they should show up with water in the truck and, not be scrambling around with, looking for water. So just, common sense, take it with a grain of salt. For 56, 2026, this is a big no for me. I clearly remember Dan, and Dan was very strong about this. Even Harry, you were very strong about this too, Harry. We could fix the sections that needed to be fixed. Why did we have to rip up all this fencing and spend $168,000? This is a lot of money. People work hard in this town for their money. Why are we having to rip up perfectly good fence when we have just sections that need to be replaced? And if you get sponsorships, then you just put the banners over the sections and nobody knows it's been replaced or what it looks like. That's my thought. For 57, 2026, my question is, how much is the sewer agreement between the MUA and Pemberton Township? And how long will this mutual agreement be between the sewer department and Pemberton? And you know how we are on the bill list. How much is the bill list for this session? And for the last one, 58, 2026, whoever you pick to fill the seat, please make sure that they are ready for the next 3 years of emails and dealing with me. All right? Thank you, guys, and I'm ready for my answers.
Can I start, Eric?
Sure.
Your total bill list is 5.7 million. However, 3 million of that's going to the Board of Ed, and 1.75 million of that is going to the county. So out of 5.7 million, 4.7 is paying taxes.
Okay.
Okay?
And I'll start here, pick out a few. 57, 2026, so everybody knows that that's being pulled tonight. 56, the reason we went ahead with this contract is intact. A large portion of that is grant money, and we did not want to hurt the baseball program from playing baseball this spring. We couldn't. We're replacing these things entirely. They wear out. The posts get damaged and stuff. So for insurance purposes, it's better to replace the whole thing and get it taken care of. If we just send it back out to bid again, it wouldn't have been done in time for the all teams to get the benefit of it this year. We are working on a next round of grants to improve another one of the ball fields and put a batting cage in. Again, a large portion of it's going to be grant money, and we're going to try to do as little with township money as we can. Going up the list to the Borough Fire Department. I'm going to stand on this one right here. The mayor and I received some emails from the Borough Fire Chief, the Township Fire Chief, disputing what was said at this last meeting. I'm not going to dwell on it, but I have, to take their official reports that the fire was put out, there was water on the fire truck at the time, and then they backed up to the fire hydrant and refilled the truck. And it was not a house fire, it was a chicken coop fire. So I can only go on what the two chiefs sent the mayor and I, and I was not there, so I cannot say any more than that about that issue. Let's go up the list here. 54, you had a question on that one?
Yeah, how much the contract was.
$6,650.
53, how much acreage?
It didn't say how many acres on there, did it? It just gives a lot and block.
I have it written somewhere. Pat, do you remember how much that was?
Yeah, I was gonna come up after.
Okay, Pat, answer that question later on. Thank you, Pat, for that. The maintenance contract 51, that's just to get emergencies taken care of. There's no cost to it until somebody comes out to do emergency work. It fast tracks, you know, if the, DPW needs somebody out there right away to work on something, they already have a list of approved bidders. So there's no cost at this time until they actually come out and do work. The EV charger, yes, that was approved 18 to 20 months ago. We got a notice that we hadn't spent the money yet. When we did just initial analysis of it, it was gonna cost us $25,000 to $35,000, I believe, to put that charger in, and we were only getting $6,500. So we decided to give it back to the state and not do it. Okay? What else? Which other ones? I can't keep.
I was
track.
confused about his question on number, for 44, the, total amount of the refunds, it's right there, $1,035.
Yeah.
You would ask what the total was.
How many people were getting it?
Oh,
I think that,
1,
I
2,
think there was
3,
like.
4, 5, 6, 7.
There you go.
7.
Yep.
Okay.
All right. Is that it, Alex?
Yeah, that's it.
All right, thank you very much for your time and consideration.
And thank you for giving me the number.
On to the next,
It's a night, you know?
Anybody else? Don't be bashful, please, come on.
Danny still with us? Did we confirm that when we came back up?
Yeah, he's still on, like he said, he's just muted.
Pat Guthrie, 317 Birmingham Road. I'm gonna miss Walker Floors, they're really fantastic. And he was in business for many, many years, I know I used it for the many years. And being that we're gonna lose our town florist, I'm just wondering if, maybe the township is taking into consideration, maybe getting a business in to become our new florist, cause I can't imagine town without one. That being said, I'm wondering how the master plan is going. Do we have any updates on the master plan? And then I wanna voice my concerns on some of these items that are in the resolution. 46, 2026, 47, 2026. This PACE analytical service, for lab testing done on the service, or on the sewer system. I looked up PACE, they're only got a 2.2 star rating, but they're mainly for environmental disasters, Legionella outbreak, emergency services. What's actually going on at our sewage plant? Should I be concerned being that it's in my backyard? Also this European environmental, for the water testing, they actually have 5 stars if we're using the one in Marlton. But, they also, do biological assessments of the water, product chemistry, environmental safety. Should we be concerned about what's going on with our water? It's kind of frightening. Every single meeting, I see things having to do with the, water and sewage on the bill list every single council meeting. The MUA was dissolved somewhere around October the 3rd of 2019. I mean, did they do no work on it whatsoever under the previous council? I mean, I know you guys were sitting up there at the time that, our sewage plant and our water facilities went to crap. But, I mean, and there's not much that, you know, you've only actually all been here for a year. So, it's a lot to expect for you guys to jump on. But, it's really raising concerns when you see that the water and sewage plant has got to be continually worked on. We're setting up an emergency backup system on, repair guide on another resolution. The one that you brought up for the just in case, the contract, 51/20/26. So is there something, you mentioned transparency. Is there something going on at the sewage plant and or with the water services that are causing us to have to spend, like in this one alone, it's $82,700 that the people need to be concerned about? It kind of scares me when I see it on there every single time. I heard you were pulling the agreement with Mount Holly, so, I'm waiting to see when that comes out. Another thing I wanted to mention was, for the BA, can we look into what, the township is spending on, for Comcast for all over, Pemberton Township? Because, it might be just $200 a month, but that equals up to $2,400 a year. And why a commission stand, needs Comcast, I think that's ridiculous. The money would be better spent at the BMIA, and you'd be surprised how far that service reaches out to.
Yes.
Whereas if BMIA had it, then the concession stand could have access to it during those times that they need it. And that's all my questions and concerns. Do you have any answers for me?
Yes, Patty, if you, on the 46 and 47, those are just annual contracts that we sign for testing. They have to do testing on the water and the sewer output to make sure it's as clean as it has to be going when they discharge it and stuff, and the water testing. These are annual contracts we renew every year. Same with the maintenance contract. It's for, like I said, the fast track if we have repairs. The 148 that we're working on right now was an emergency situation that came up right after Matt and I got in our new positions, and it's already well underway of being repaired. But these things do happen. I mean, it's a very corrosive environment over there at the sewer plant, so they're constantly going to have to be fixing things and upgrading things. The last report Matt and I got on this emergency repair is that once these pumps got rebuilt, they'd be good for another 50 years.
And that one pump, if I may,
Sure.
that one pump, I believe, was like the late 70s. That's how long it's been.
Original.
Yeah, it's an original pump at that plant.
It is kind of scary considering us out on Birmingham Road, with the sewage plant there. I don't know all my neighbors, which is, that's just me liking to keep to myself. But, from the ones that I know and that I was close to, Mr. Vollmer, he was my neighbor for a long time. He was a wonderful man, and he actually suffered from, ulcerative colitis, Crohn's, like digestible issues. And then now I see my husband having the ulcerative colitis. I was diagnosed years ago with GERD. And now I'm even finding out, like my neighbor that I took care of, he had issues with his gastro system. So I'm curious, I'm thinking about going door to door and asking everybody in Birmingham, are any of you guys having this issue? Because how much of a coincidence is it that so many people just around my house, where every single one of us have these problems? So it does, I've had my water tested multiple times. They say my water's good. I'm having a super filtration system put on in about another month. We already got it priced and we're gonna have that installed. But, it just doesn't make sense that so many of us have such severe, and it's not just simple, hey, I've got acid reflux. We have severe medical conditions going on Birmingham Road, and it makes me wanna keep an eye on what's going on out there at the sewage plant and what's happening with our water, I think everybody in Birmingham should be concerned.
Well, the one thing I can tell you, Pat, Sir, if I may, as being the single closest resident residing to the MUA
Yeah,
plant,
I
I can
think
tell you
about you all the
with
time.
100% certainty, I have absolutely zero concern about the pumps, because some of the pumps we're speaking of would actually pump the sewage to our location. So if any of those pumps were to go down, we would actually be having less sewage coming to Birmingham to be treated by those pumps going down. It's nothing to do with the pumps that discharge it anywhere, it's pumps coming in.
Don't you
So,
find it weird that a lot of us have medical problems out there with our,
I do know, I also live across from the only chemical plant we had in Pemberton
Yeah.
Township, so you might wanna consider that as well, but since I'm not glowing right now sitting here, no, I don't have any concerns. No, I don't.
okay. I just thought I'd throw that out there because there's a lot of us that are sick.
You got a nice team though.
And the master plan, any word on what's going on
You'll
with
have to go
that?
to a planning board meeting, because we're waiting to hear about that also.
Okay, and I take it once we get it back from the planning board, we're gonna jump right on that?
I'm not sure that we have to approve it after the planning board approves it.
They get the seal of approval, correct?
Huh? Yeah, yeah. Yeah, it's all on the planning board.
What was that special deal we gave the warehouse down the street? Where they had to limit how much, did we ever pull that on them? That,
Pilot program?
yeah,
I don't know if anything, do you have?
They got a stay of execution on that. They went to the judge, correct? Got a stay of execution on that, so they're still enjoying the fruits of the previous administration and council's labors.
thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Hi, Lori Reynolds, 46 Horizon Road. Just a couple things. Ordinance for second reading, ordinance 1/2026. I don't know if you have cliff notes on this, but is this designed in any way to keep us from the situation that we went through in the past couple of years with the lawsuits? Does this offer us anything that we did not have before that would protect us against all the lawsuits? Okay, all right, if you want to finish first. And just something else that I wanted to say that regarding that, because I know that we still have a couple of settlements to be made, and we still have a couple of cases that need to be settled out there. And I know that we've had some crazy settlement deals made so far that really bother me and should bother everyone, I think, in a way. People who are being paid while they're not working for us because they didn't reach the retirement age and we're gonna carry them until they reach it or whatever. I don't even know. I don't understand all of the settlement agreements that have been made. But people being paid by 1099 by the township even though they're not working here, and giving them a greater tax break by paying part of their, thousands of dollars settlement in 1099. Other people getting promotions and staying on board and can't be fired, and those things smack of a lack of integrity for our township. I'm sorry, they do. For me, they do. Because there are other ways to handle these cases. And personally, my personal opinion, the second time a supervisor spoke with me in the manner that we're being told that they were spoken to, there would be one well-placed kick. And then I would take the assault charge, but I would counter with a suit against that individual. I would not sue the township. I'm sorry, I know these cases have been heard and settled, but I'm sorry, I just don't believe, and I think that all of our employees now and in the future should be well advised that under the New Jersey law against discrimination, if you have a complaint of harassment in the workplace or a hostile work environment, you're recommended to document everything, number one. Number two, you're recommended to report it internally. If that doesn't work for you, and if unfortunately the people who are in charge of our administration are not handling it properly, you go right to the New Jersey Division of Civil Rights or the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission, and an investigation will be launched, and it will be handled at that level. every employee in our township should be advised that, they should know that, they should have it on their desks at this point, because this is crazy. It didn't have to happen like this. It didn't have to put our county JIF, our entire, all the municipalities in our county, and our taxpayers on the hook for all of this. It just didn't have to happen that way. And I know that we're moving forward, and that's what we should be doing. So I'm gonna get off that topic, but I hope that people take note of those other options for handling workplace issues. Number 52, Amendment 52, 2026, I'm grateful to see that moving forward, and I hope that it does tonight. I just want to remind you that the 2018 redevelopment plan recognizes the town center mixed use district where that's located as the town center is the it's in the development plan, it's listed as the district that most closely represents the qualities of a town center more than any other area of Browns Mills. And it should be developed in an aesthetically pleasing way to serve as the focal point of the Browns Mills redevelopment area. So I hope that we are true to that in approving this development, and I can't wait for shovels to go in the ground on that project. And salaries and wages for certain employees for the township, ordinance number 5. Can you say at this point what those are, or who those are, or is it an entire list?
Is that it, Mike?
Yeah, that's it.
All right, let you start off there, Chris.
Thank you. Ms. Reynolds, you inquired with regard to the ordinance amending and supplementing chapter 34 entitled Officers and Employees, and specifically that ordinance repeals the existing ordinance dealing with defense and indemnification. The replaced ordinance substantively is nearly identical to the verbiage in the previous ordinance. However, the one change would be that it gives the Township Council a little more oversight in determining which cases that the township will provide indemnification, where it can. Statutorily, in some cases, the town is required to provide indemnification, such as police officers and so forth. But there may be some calls that the Township Council can make with regard to allegations that are made, and as to whether they want to classify that as an action that would be indemnifiable. Does it fall within the workings of the employee? Does it rise to the level of outside the scope of employment or outside the scope of their duties? So there are some calls in which the Township Council would have a little bit greater authority over than what they had in the past. That's the only thing it does. For the most part, it's pretty much the same language as previously.
Thank you.
Sure.
What was your other one, Lori?
The other one was the salaries and wages, ordinance 5.
Yeah, there's a list. That's
It's
a
this-
list.
Okay, so
Yes,
we just
ma'am.
wait for that to come out for,
Well, we can go down it, but there's a bunch.
no,
of
I
them.
don't work for down. Okay, thank you.
All right.
Good thing you're not Mr. Costa.
Anybody else? All right, seeing no further. He who hesitates is lost.
Oh, one thing if I could touch on it, I'm sorry, Eric, before you start. There's a couple of people who had mentioned the Comcast thing. Mayor, isn't part of Public Works still operating out of the concession stand? I know they used to. They're not any longer? I know there was a short time where Tom had some of the guys working out of there, so that could explain, I'm sorry, I just glanced down and saw it. That could explain some of the Comcast expense that we have for that building. Thank you.
So, yeah, I was just chatting with Marty about that, said maybe how close they are, either just a range extender, or even if you need a mesh system, which is pretty cheap, to be able to give the VMAA some access. But also, being on the Business Economic Development Committee, we're also talking about some other things with doing kayaks out there. The company that's coming in, they might need to use some internet to manage their things. I'm just thinking, I haven't talked about it to anybody because it just came up. As we're going through that kayak rental company, maybe they might be able to help us because they need some internet access. So we might be able to get them to subsidize it. That's it, I know it's up here. I just wanted to find out about, Eric Allen, 162 North Pemberton. Ordinance 426, 2026. It just says various water utility improvements for a bond ordinance. I'd like to get some specifics on that. What are the improvements? Is it improvements? Sound like an improvement. For 2026 ordinance for
Oh, okay, thank you.
So it sounds like an improvement, not something new. And it really doesn't give any specifics on it. And that kind of ties into 2026. It says various water capital improvements. I'd really just like to get some input on what exactly that is, because this $204,000 figure is kind of curious, because the last time there was going to be a study on whether you could extend or improve the well by the high school, there was supposed to be a investigation on that. That's about the same amount of money, so it's just a curious move. And I think that's really the questions that I have.
All right, thank you. Candace, I believe you can answer both of those questions, correct?
Yep, so it's a generalization that we use for various improvements. This bond ordinance that's on there for 2026 is the one that we were trying to get passed all through last year. So it is for supplies for the water department, and it would also be for some new Lisbon improvements, phase 1 to be specific. As far as the $204,000, that is money that we received from a redeveloper that we put in a reserve to specifically use towards the project. So it's a fully funded amount of money that will go towards another project that we're doing.
And who's the redeveloper?
Am I allowed to say that?
Yeah, you can say that, yeah.
Yeah, it's on the list, we should know.
Hovnanian?
Oh, how about that? So it is for that area. So then what is that exactly? Can you give me more specifics on what that money is going towards?
So that's just the amount that they've given us so far, so it just allows us to start the project.
And what is the
And
project?
as part of funding.
For, what's the work?
I'll let somebody else answer that.
Yeah, please.
Our engineer can give a.
So as part of the Hovnanian redevelopment, part of the agreement that was made with the township was that the township was going to extend the existing water main that runs up Armies Mount Road onto Fort Dix Road to be a larger water main to help serve that development. So part of that is for that work that needs to be done. It's been split into 2 phases, but it's basically the upsizing of the existing water main that runs down Armies Mount Road onto Fort Dix Road to serve that development.
So this is for that work, or just for the study for that work?
It is for that work to be completed.
Okay. Okay, I guess that's it.
Thank you, Eric.
Thanks.
Yes, sir.
May I?
Yes.
Nelson Doyle. There's nobody working on it.
Nobody anymore? Thank you, sir.
Good evening, everybody. Patrick Iverson, 59B West Hampton Street. I'm glad Mr. Howland brought that up. I guess my first question with that is, I thought that we were out of this and this was going to be on borough for supplying this water. So apparently that's not the whole case there. You know, once again, you don't have the water on that side of town to begin with. From my understanding, the well at the high school cannot supply this either. So I don't know where we still don't have a water supply issue figured out for this development. Once again, the cart is 3 miles in front of the horse on this whole project. It's ridiculous. Going back to that with the bond for the $1.6 million or $1.5 million, whatever it was, $1.6 million, does that also tie into this? Because I mean, I don't see Mr. Ward here this evening, but I know that he had some issues with this too, and I don't remember the exact numbers that he came up with, but we're spending $1.5 million on New Lisbon water supply for approximately 40 homes or so that are tied into the water there. That doesn't really seem to be an efficient use of money, $1.5 million for 40 homes. So I'm thinking, once again, not hearing anything more about the Greenberg project with Upnanian and this $200,000 that's going into it, which was funded, all right? But the point being is, where is this New Lisbon thing going to? I think there's still a lot of future planning that we don't know about that's happening here in this township. And I'd just like some answers on that if you could. I do appreciate the EVs being dropped, the chargers, because that's another green new scam deal that was ludicrous to begin with. The only thing I would like to realize too, and people to understand this, the people on YouTube, you mentioned grants a lot. You mentioned a grant about over here, that it's not coming out of the taxpayers. Grants do come from taxes, whether it not be out of the township, whether it be out of the state or the federal or wherever it's coming from. We do pay federal and state taxes here as well. So grants are not free as people think they are. So I just want that. People seem to think that the government is a business that makes money. It doesn't. It comes from taxpayers. So I have an issue with grants sounding free all the time. They're not free. Somebody paid for them somewhere, whether it be us in the township or it be the state or it be whoever. The other thing I've seen in here too with the hookups, we're back to a mandatory hookup, and the verbiage in this is very, very, I don't know, open-ended, I would want to say, on that ordinance. It's ordinance, let's see. No, wrong one. Ordinance 2/2026, the water requirement hookups. That from time to time, when water mains go by, that now you're required to it. So you might have a house and happy with your well, and there is no water main in front of your house. Now the township decides to put a water main through. Now you're a mandatory connection to that water main. It seems that's how I'm reading it in here.
Yeah, go ahead, sorry.
All right, but that's how it's. If you're reading it the way I'm reading it, that's how that sounds. Okay, and that's all I had. It's mainly about the water issues, which once again, we have issues with drought conditions. We don't have water supplies that everybody thinks we have, and we keep pushing for these developments, which also goes to, yes, time to time, pumps go down, and we have an antiquated sewer plant, and we're adding 345 homes to that system, and we're gonna have more expenses going forward in that too. Back to the other question that was brought up, and I do appreciate the mayor jumping in on that, and we corresponded on this preservation, and I talked to council members as well. Approximately, give or take, for Mr. Costa, 25 acres. About 22.14 or 19, I believe, is actually in blueberry production. The other part of that is buildings and outsheds and a house. And there will be, as the way it is set, about a half acre will be exempted from that preservation. And this is through a state preservation, not through a county. Thank you.
All right, Pat, I'm happy to address every issue you have.
Harry, I have many.
Well, as far as for the, let's go to your favorite one, the Greenberg Farm. Yes, the borough, we've signed a contract, you know, we now are in the construction phase. We have to tie in their water to what our piping is gonna be. So that's what we're doing. They are supplying the water, and they say they can supply the water to the whole development. And now we're just starting the construction phase, and that's all that, you know, the one is monies that KHOV has already given to the town to be appropriated to these projects, you know. So it's not us paying out of taxpayer dollars to do this. The other project, the New Lisbon project, yes, I mean, I'll agree with you that it's not the best spent money, but we've already done 2/3 of this project. And to not tie it in with the new piping and put new meters in at the two county facilities next door so we can get our correct water money from them instead of not getting any money from them, you know, and then further down the road, yes, there may be projects, but, you know, I don't have a crystal ball. I know in the next 3 years that I'm gonna be here, I'm gonna carefully scrutinize any project that comes across all our desk. You know, I can't guarantee anything, but we do need to finish that project, or we wasted $2 million on the first 2 phases, you know.
As we agreed before, Harry, too, we both said that we would be a no on anything that extended past the Burlington County College property.
That's correct.
And I still stand by that, Pat.
All right, that's still being stood by, all right.
Yeah.
Well, and once again, I know that you inherited a lot of what is going on here. Like you said, the previous $2 million had already been spent before anybody was even up there, okay?
Right.
So I agree with you in that sense. I'm not knocking that theory. It's just, I've seen what's happened with things. You need to look 10 years down the road of what somebody has in mind here. Because, you know, once again, I'm looking at, you're not gonna be here forever, I'm not gonna be here forever. So, all right, I appreciate that.
And as far as that, water, it's only for, it was reworded at, you know, some request of Mr. Ward and some other people, that it's only for new construction, those are mandatory hookups. Only new construction.
Yeah, I believe it also said something in there, Harry, again, from what I read over, it said something about if a well went down, and that was accessible there, there would be a requirement to tie into it, but then you could only use your well if you wanted to refurbish it for non-potable purposes, basically for landscaping.
Right, I see that in there, but being it broke in and it says, it doesn't, and trust me, I just went through a bunch of whereases and therefore it be ordained and everything else the past weekend. So I've had more of this crap than I want to see in my lifetime. And it's just a lot of times it's in the verbiage or the wording, because the next paragraph down under that where I was talking about, it's in the event that a property owner refuses to make a connection or pay such connection fee within the applicable period of time set forth, then a lien will be put against the property. So it's saying property owner refuses to connect.
Where they're required.
Right, where
That's where one of the 2 requirements comes in, either new construction or your.
But it doesn't have, I think within that phrase, it should have new construction. I know it's redundant, but it can be construed that way reading it, and that's how I read it, because it wasn't in the paragraph prior to it.
I understand, yeah.
So, all right, thank you.
No problem. Yeah, come on up.
Are you gonna holler?
I want to touch on something that Mike had said. I'm not too thrilled either about people suing this township and still working here, and I didn't understand, I didn't know that you still have a lawsuit pending or something, is it?
Yes.
Are you willing to drop that lawsuit now? I mean, you are an administrator, you want to take the township's money.
I don't know how one has anything to do with the other.
Okay, so that's, I have a problem with township employees still working here with lawsuits, and now we got a mayor, I see he's running for, or somebody's running for mayor, had lawsuits against this town. That's, I have a problem with that, that we can't continue to go down that road. there anybody here from code enforcement?
I'll represent them.
Now,
I'll
What are we-
represent.
what are we gonna do about this Acme parking lot? It's just snow covered, ice covered, didn't spend.
Joe, I'm gonna step in here for
Are they
Harry.
gonna spend a dime?
You gotta finish asking all your questions first, then we'll be happy to address them, okay?
So are they gonna spend any money to clear that parking lot? Or are they allowed to just leave it like that? There's other businesses around town, they're clearing their parking lots, and they don't look like that. The Browns Mills Methodist Church, my sister works there. She spent money on Georgianos or whatever it is, spent money that was hard to spend to have their parking lot cleared. How does the Acme get away with this? Nothing's ever done to the Acme. The place looks like a shithole, to be honest, outside. If you go to the other side of the shopping center where Ollie's is, it looks nice. Go drive over toward the Acme. They don't spend a dime. And yet, they just continue to keep going like this. Nobody from this township, you worry about people with tall grass, you bust their balls about high grass and stuff in their yards, but yet we're not doing nothing to the Acme.
I will relay it to code enforcement tomorrow.
And the other question, was on my mind is, do we have a road grader in this town that grades dirt roads? Because I saw one over here at the touch and go, or the touch show you had over here with all the cars and brand new road grader over there. Do we have an operator for that road grader? Does that road grader do dirt roads? Because Billy Pittman used to run the dirt grader back to my place. And he used to maintain that road, and then he used to plow it when it snowed once in a while, he'd come back there. Do we have an operator for this road grader? And then the other thing I wanna touch on is, that everybody's talking about, is ICE. How does our town, our police chief, mayor, how are we gonna handle if ICE is in Browns Mills? Are we cooperating with them? Is the police chief are we gonna cooperate with them if they need your assistance? Are you gonna refuse assistance to ICE if they need assistance from you?
So the police departments in the state of New Jersey are actually prohibited by Attorney General's guideline from providing any type of assistance that way.
What if they ask you for it?
If you're talking about immigration enforcement
Yes.
assistance, every department is prohibited from that.
So what's your position, Matt?
It's not that. I'm gonna ask Steve not to respond to that question. It's not up to the chief. He responds to the Attorney General guidelines, will determine what the police department can and can't do.
Okay,
I understand your question.
all right. So, I would like an answer on that road grader. Do we have an operator for that thing or not, or it's just gonna sit over there with snow on it?
Joe, we have 2 road graders, and.
Yeah, one with brand new, I saw it over there.
Yep, and I know they have more than one operator. I don't know if they use it for snow or not. I mean.
What do we have one for then?
For grading the dirt roads during the, summer months.
Well, the road, Pasadena Road up to City Line Avenue is a dirt road. Was that plowed? With a road grader?
For snow, no,
I don't know if they utilize them, Joe, for snow. I don't have an
What
answer
they
to
used to
that.
in this township?
And we don't have a rep here who could answer that question for you tonight from Public Works.
We can find these answers out for you, Joe. I mean, I know you know the number of Public Works.
Yeah, I know.
I know you call them.
Yeah, I called him.
But,
I had a problem with him this week, but I lost my cool with him. I called him back the next day and apologized to Don Kurtz. He was very professional on the phone with me.
And I commend you on that. I had an extensive conversation with the 3 Public Works superintendents today, the guys down back, and they were blown away at your apology. So my hat's off to you for that.
So, yeah, 'cause I know. Shit happens.
I'm gonna make one comment to you regarding those lawsuits, just in layman's terms, and with all respect to what Mrs. Reynolds had to say as well. You're a big guy, but if you and I are standing toe to toe, okay? I smack you in the face. When I do it again, is it gonna take 4 times before you swing back? I'm just asking a question, it's just rhetorical, it's rhetorical. Understandable? Some people took that much. Thank you, Joe.
What are you gonna do with this banner right here?
Why, you got a spot for it?
Yeah. I want that banner if you decide to get rid of it.
We'll be putting them out for sale.
We auction it off.
All right, any for public comment?
Hello, Michelle.
What did you say?
Say
Hello, Michelle.
Oh, hello.
Never gonna yell at me for that, are you?
No, I just don't know if I should call you Perry or Mr. Doyle.
Perry, I like you better.
I already got you down. This is Matt. I'm gonna learn how to say your last name. I'm just 3 minutes before you start the timer.
It's too late, we don't understand.
Man loves to fight with me.
Now, let me see if I can figure out how to do this. Because somebody said if you hold it in your hand, it kind of ruins the sound quality.
It goes in and out, yeah.
Yeah. I had my whole plan, then this came. Okay, so this ordinance, I just want to double check for this water lines, which, we allowed to talk on this as a separate item?
This is the second reading, you'll have a chance to talk about it at second reading.
Is this the second reading, or
Which one are you pointing to?
both of them?
Both, which one's which?
Well, there's,
1 and 2 are for second reading, the rest are first reading.
number 9 is for second reading, you'll have a chance to comment on them. All the ones under number 10 are just introduction.
No, I'm talking about the ordinance.
Oh, I'm
Mrs.
sorry.
Foreman, the ordinances that were on the back table are up for second reading, so those will come up again for public comment.
Tonight.
Yep.
Tonight,
Yep.
yes.
Okay, I know everybody says, of course, it's an ordinance, second reading, but once in a while, they say I can't come up and talk on some of these. Sometimes it does happen.
Okay.
Not often. It's one of those.
Okay, so on this, I just want to say this ordinance is totally different, but I'll talk about it to you later. I know for sure that they said that the borough was only gonna be able to provide water for 5 years. I know I remember that. I got much more to say about this later. Okay. Now, just wanted to say that, to the residents of Pemberton Township who went to the, meetings for the Country Lakes Pole Bridge development, and we were able to fight them off, and they voted it down. We were also able to fight the marijuana farms, and they voted that down that night, which I couldn't believe. You probably don't remember. Well, you probably do remember. You have a good memory.
Very well.
Yeah, with Mr. Gardner. I couldn't believe that. They voted that down. So we escaped that. We escaped disaster there. We got 2 farms preserved instead of having warehouses. This is a big victory as far as I'm concerned. I just want to say that at the zoning board, last zoning board meeting, there were a few residents here. I'm so proud of the residents over in that area by Helen Fort and Newcomb School. Okay, they came to the zoning board meeting. I was there as well. And I hope this is why it worked out this way. I hope the zoning board members took credence to the feelings and the destruction and anyway, I hope they took the residents into consideration when they voted the solar panels down, acres of solar panels in these residents' backyard. And let me tell you, that was a big victory, okay? And I thank the zoning board for voting the way they did. They voted that down. Now they can't do solar panels in their backyards anymore, as far as I know. I'd like a couple extra minutes to talk about the video, but we'll worry about that later, because I came to this meeting 5 times about that, and I really want to answer tonight. I really do. I want to thank Chief Glass for being here, because I was afraid we need an officer in this room. Maybe some days it's calm, some days it's not. Now we got the Chief of Police here, so welcome. Thank you for being here tonight. The police officers, not the chief, but yes, he doesn't mind coming either, I don't think. But the police officers, when they're back here, they always say they don't mind coming. So I'm so glad that he's here. It's always just a little secure.
security, safety for the residents. We feel a little bit safer with you here. I do anyway. I don't know where Josh and Dan are. Dan Dewey's not here tonight?
He's
He's listening, Dan.
Say aye.
Hi, Dan Dewey. Hi to the wife. Okay, so, let's say this fast. Community development meeting was meeting, and, I miss so many of them because they switching the date, and somebody told me that they're not mandated to tell us if they're switching the date. They switched it on me numerous times. So I have a message to you and to you. Please call me if you're changing the date. Because somebody told me you're not mandated. You know, if they're not mandated, that's a question for you. Are they mandated to give us a warning that they're switching the date on me? Because I was all ready to go at 5 o'clock tonight on the reorg meeting. But they said it was canceled, but then I found out the next week that they had it that night. And they didn't have it the night it was scheduled to be. I mean, I'm all over the place. I would like to go there to find out what's going on. The residents, by the way, you want to go to Economic and Development Committee meetings, you're allowed to go. Now, I'm looking to see, although I know that you said that you would take care of things and you would get me the video and everything, but I need it on record because I'm planning on possibly, if I can't get these, I'm gonna look, well, I already looked into it, the Government Records Council, and talk to them about it and see if I can appeal your decision if you're not gonna give me the videos. I got them for a year. I know that she said that they, I know that she said that it took all day for her to use videos. For 2023, I got 2 videos of each. It probably took a long time. That needs to be invalidated. I know you mentioned it the last time. That's invalidated to me. Because they never told me that was a problem for me to ask for a year's worth of them. They never told me it was a problem. And I already told, it's invalidated because I already told them at the meeting that, hey, I'll do the Oprah after every month if I have to prevent them from working so hard. And I know me and you have, you know, we had a battle about this on the phone the other first time I got in a fight with you though. It was kind of fun, but I think I won. No, he thinks he won.
I don't wanna
Now,
cut you off.
does anybody have, an answer from, are you gonna provide the, video of the meetings?
I told you, I would personally do it for you.
Right, but I need to know what's going on with the township. Is Amy going to do them like I requested on the Oprah? Is she gonna do them or
You'd have
not?
to ask
I
Michelle-
just need to know, yes or
Michelle,
no.
the short answer is, we are not required by law to provide you with videos because there are alternative sources. That's the short answer.
So did you talk to the council like you said you were going to? All the council said no?
No, when I talked to you on the phone that night, I told you I did not talk to them.
Yeah, but have you talked to them since?
No.
Oh, so you promised you would talk to them and.
No, I assumed that when we talked about the diets, that was sufficient.
No, you said you would talk to them and get back to
I said to
me.
me that I would, and when I talked to you on the phone the night of the 14th, I said that it could not be done because of server space and other alternative means of getting the meeting for YouTube and such. But I told you that I would personally download YouTube videos and provide them. I did say that.
Okay, I understand that you said that, but when I go to the Government Records Council, I need to have all the facts, so you're saying to me emphatically that no, Amy said that if the council said that she had to do them, that she would do them for me, and you're saying no to me, correct?
I'm saying that we are not required by law.
No, are you saying, I'm not asking you that, is the answer no, you're not gonna give them to me, you're not gonna have her do them? So you're gonna throw me under the rug for one of the employees, so when it's only gonna take her 10 extra minutes to do it for me. That's what she said, and you're gonna say, we don't care about your feelings, Michelle, we have a million excuses to throw you under the bus and say, we don't care about your feelings. I was told the council was gonna, be talked to about this and get a consensus, whether you wanted to, because Amy said if you said, so you're saying you're not gonna do it for me? Okay, it's nice to know where I stand with everybody. Thank you.
Anyone else for public comment? Seeing none, move on to new business.
Wait a minute.
Oh, there she is.
better wake up. Good evening, everybody in general. I am going to start in reference to the hookups, to the going past, that you gotta hook up or connection to the water system. Number one, I don't live, or my development doesn't have no hookups, doesn't have nothing. I'm very happy. Now there is more snow, and guess what? I will have a lot of water. Don't have to worry about a hookup. Okay, make the story short. I know that this has been from the previous administration. They were going to force you, and people came in here and fought about it. And to me, it is, even if I live here myself, where the hookups are, if my world is working, my world is on my property. I don't think the township can come and force me to go hook up, because the township spent all these millions in connection with for the water and everything, and they really saw they have a gold mine. But where they forgot about it, we don't have no gold mine in here. We may have the gold mines in depths. We hardly can survive in here. More lawsuits coming up and down the road, and guess what? We up the creek. I leave it up in the side. Okay, second one, I'm going to job as a firefighter in the past to work with Pemberton Borough. Number one, we have residents who are taxpayers, where our commitment as a township is to take care of them. We get them their money. Let the borough continue their work. If the previous administration did not close us down as a firefighters in the company, we didn't have a problem today. I was one of those in the past. To tell you the story. I don't want to, yes, everybody will know. Maybe they do not know the true story. I don't have to tell nobody. I keep it out for myself. When people talk about it, don't believe what these people say. Okay, leave it in there. Continue helping Pemberton Borough, because for them, that's the only thing. If those houses are burning down, whatever, that way, we don't even have volunteer firefighters in here enough to go fight 64 square miles. What do you think is going to put the fire down in the other side? Well, you're getting the money out for the taxpayer. I leave it there. I think will be nice in the future, in the old days, every branch for the people who work in this building, on meeting nights, they were here. If we got problem with inspectors or the code enforcement, they can be here sitting, they can answer the question. But what are we getting from here? Because you guys do not know. Oh, we will find it out next time. If they can come in here, they stated to me in the past, oh, we gotta pay different rate, and their contract doesn't say they gotta come at night time. No, wait a minute. They work 8 hours, guess what? Work 4 hours here, go back here 4 hours. You don't have to pay nobody overtime. I know the township is paying a lot of overtime in this snowstorm. That's fine. But our town, where I've been noticed, and I stated in the past here,
if the township only alone take care all their problems, all their properties, keep it real nice. Well, don't come and harass the poor people, even they have grass, because the code enforcement doesn't know for a garden grass and regular grass. I can tell you why. Because a person got a ticket or whatever. Oh, your grass is too high. How stupid you can be. You do not know the between the garden grass and the regular grass. And I live there and I just hope the sycamore hole, please try to hold it on and take it away for the people who ain't coming there and get it. That's the only oldest building we got here in town. The least we can show and tell the people. We are in history. Don't sell it. Good night.
Thank you, Ms. Phillips.
Okay. Got a lot of things to say, but I keep it to myself. I figure out what they're going to do anyway.
Anyone else for public comment? You've been sitting there all this time? Now you...
Best for last, right? Okay, good evening, council. I have a couple questions on 46, 2026, 47, 2026, and also new business on 2 and 3. I'm gonna start with 46, 2026. Analytic services, that's for the testing, I guess, correct, for the sewer. Does Eurofins do the same testing? For the water and sewer?
Is that all your question?
No. And for new business, fire department, a door fob for $9,500. I mean, we can't get that any cheaper than for a door fob. That seems a little crazy for a door fob, $9,500. In the fire department, pump repair on 2 trucks from Blaze Equipment in a total amount of $11,544. Is it cheaper to repair the pumps, or is it just cheaper to buy 2 new fire pumps and call it that? That's all.
Okay, well, on the water contract and the sewer contract, yes, they bid them both ways, and they picked the lowest bidder for each one. So both companies did bid on both, and they picked the lowest bid on each one, okay? For the fire department, the key fobs, that's for 2 fire stations, and to supply all the firefighters their fobs and stuff like that, and that was the cheapest bid on that. Same with the replacing valves on the pumpers that are leaking. This time of year, you don't want leaking water valves when you're out on a fire call and stuff, because they'll freeze up. So they have to be repaired, and it's not cheap. They also, I believe, got 3 bids on that, and that was the cheapest one.
Okay, for repair on the pump though, I mean, what's a new fire pump, $5,000-6,000?
Now, these are the pumps that are on the truck themselves. They're probably about $50,000 or more just for the pump itself.
Okay.
We got, it's a lot cheaper than buying a $1.1 million pumper that we just ordered last year.
Right, okay, I just think for 46, 2026, and 47, I mean, we're spending the same money. Why couldn't we just do it through the one company? Even if it was $1,000 more for 21 or something.
Because they bid them and they picked out the cheapest price. They both bid on both items, and one was higher on one was higher. You gotta save $1,000 here and there, wherever you can. It was more than
Yeah, I mean, you gotta pay to play, but you gotta shop around too. I mean,
It was shopped around, that's what we're saying.
Okay,
And the thing
that's
is, it's not like you'd have gotten a cheaper price if both were granted. You add the 2 numbers together, You know, so it's put out individually, so the township has the opportunity to save some money, and that's what they
Okay.
did.
All right, thank you. That's all.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else for public comment? All right, seeing none, we'll move on to, let's see what we got. We got, agenda items, consent agenda items. Anybody have anything they want to have, removed from the consent agenda?
Yes, I'm asking that council removes the January 7th meeting minutes. They were unable to be done prior and get them to council in time for the meeting. They'll be on the next meeting.
So it would just be the December 17th then, Amy?
Correct. You received those for you.
Anything else that needs to be removed from the consent agenda? As I said earlier, we were pulling 57/2026.
Yeah, if you can hear me, I'd like to talk about, let me see, 52/2026, 54/2026, 55/2026, 56/26, and 57. Or you're pulling 57, that's okay. The rest of them I'm okay with.
So it's 52, 54, and 55, you said?
He said 51, 54, 55, and
No,
56.
no, I said 52,
Oh, sorry.
54, 55, and 56.
Okay, can we have a motion on that?
I guess I will make a motion to approve the consent agenda as amended.
I'll second.
Mr. Doyle?
Yes.
Mr. Dewey?
Yes.
Mr. Harper?
Yes. All right, motion carries on those. Danny, feel free to start with 52.
Okay, as I said earlier, I'm not too happy with the verbiage of the amendment with the contamination, and I'd like to see it reflect what my opinion is about the prior contamination to us owning the property and the prior owner. And I'd also like to see that I spoke about earlier is some type of incentive to be put in there that if we don't have a grocery store in 24 months, we got to put a number on it, what we want from the developer.
Okay, Danny, your request are so noted. Anything else?
What on that?
What's that?
Anything else are you talking about?
No,
on the,
as far as that,
just talked about?
as far as 52/2026, yeah, we noted your.
Okay. All right, so we noted it. Are we going to do anything about it?
We're gonna see if there's a motion on it or not, that's what we're gonna do about.
All right.
Is there a motion?
I understand where Danny's coming from, but I think we had some discussion in the back on that. And I was, satisfied with where our BA has us and our solicitor as far as that goes, and it doesn't apply to the couple changes that we're making in this redevelopment agreement. I think that was already stipulated in the prior agreements. So as far as the couple minor changes that we have here for this fifth redevelopment agreement, I'm going to make a motion to approve 52/2026.
And I'll second that motion.
Mr. Doyle?
Yes.
Mr. Harper?
Yes.
Mr. Dewey?
No.
Okay, motion carries, Danny, 54/2026.
Last year, I don't have my notes with me, but I know, this is a emergency plan for the dams in our town.
Yep, that's right.
Last year, we had them all inspected. I never did hear what the outcome was of the dams. And I think, what is this, a state regulation that we have to have a manual in the event there's a dam failure?
Yes, Jennifer's nodding her head, yes, that's a standard.
Okay, so what was the outcome of the inspections that we paid for last year?
Mr. Harper, do you mind if I answer the question?
Please feel free to go ahead.
Mr. Dewey, we inspected the dams. We did not find any issues with the dams. All of our inspection reports get sent to dam safety, and then we get follow-up letters from dam safety. We received the first letter from, I don't recall exactly which dam, Mirror Lake Dam, thank goodness it was in the proposal, basically indicating that they did not have any issues with our inspection report, but that it is required that we update the emergency action plan and operation and maintenance manuals as township officials have changed since the last ones were done. So this proposal is to basically to be in compliance with the requirements of dam safety, and we're anticipating that the other letters, when we receive them for the other dams following their review of the inspection reports that we submitted, will be the same. So we are just putting all of the updates into one proposal.
Okay, and how much is this gonna cost us?
The amount in the proposal is $6,650.
Okay, thank you, Jim.
Yep.
Any other questions?
Nope.
Motion?
I'll make a motion to approve 54-2026.
I'll second.
Mr. Doyle?
Yes.
Mr. Dewey?
Yes.
Mr. Harper?
Yes. All right, 56, no, 55 is the next one, Danny, what you got?
Like I said earlier, this thing got screwed up way before I ever got elected. And I just don't like having our feet held to a fire for service. You know, we signed a mutual agreement through the whole county, and I just, for the life of me, I don't know why that they're not part of the mutual agreement. I'm not happy with some of the people that were involved in this negotiation. They didn't ask the right questions, and I think a better job, and it could have been a cheaper price if it was handled properly. I'm not here to screw anybody out of money, but I just feel that you got a town 1 square mile holding our feet to the fire. I bet you without the proper, what their budget is, I would say that Pemberton Township is probably paying almost their entire budget for the year. And I just think it's unfair the way that we treat our residents with something as expensive as this is. There's gotta be some changes, because there's people that are running things that are the problem, and we gotta straighten the problem out. That's all I got to say.
All right, Mr. Doyle?
I've tried to weigh both sides of this. I understand where Danny's coming from, but I also back out and I take a look at the map of Pemberton Township, and although I understand the mutual aid thing, I would rather have a company like this in such close proximity, right in the center of the donut hole of the west end of our town, for some incentive to be the first responders for that side of town. My thoughts on that are, yeah, we do have a mutual aid agreement, but Vincenttown is miles away. Fort Dix base, who absolutely, yes, they always have guys on board, they're there. Still not getting there quicker than the borough. And average house prices now going up, talking $450,000. To bring it into perspective, to me, what's that, 20% of the cost of a house, one house? And how many could they potentially save, or have they, I don't wanna say save, because unfortunately the fire's already started. What percentage of that home are they able to save by being so close? So like I say, I do understand where Danny's coming from, but I personally don't feel like our feet are being held to the fire. I think it's a nominal cost to run, to ask them to help us out in covering 64 square miles.
I'd just like to also add, it's, in my mind, it's like buying insurance. I think all the residents on that side of town and the future residents, because we got 360 some units coming in the next 3 to 5 years, you know, they like to have that peace of mind that the fire department is there, ready to go. And yes, you know, we are financing them. I don't know what percentage we are financing them. I can only go by last year's numbers. We didn't give as much as the borough gave them, but I don't know if that's still the same. You know, so I think it's in the best interest of the taxpayers of this town to have that, you know, fire safety assurance. And with that, I'll entertain a motion.
I just hope in the future that we have better people negotiating for our taxpayers. People that know what they're doing.
So noted.
Yeah, okay.
I will make a motion to approve 55/2026.
Second motion.
Mr. Doyle?
Yes.
Mr. Harper?
Yes.
Mr. Dewey?
Yes.
All right, 56/2026, Danny.
For the life of me, I don't know why we have to spend $168,000, even though it's a grant. And like Pat Giverson said, the money still comes from the taxpayers. You know, we walked that fence isn't in bad shape. One of the comments made by the people, well, everybody's putting up black fence now. So what? It can be repaired a lot cheaper, and then you can take the rest of the money and do what you need to do there to make it an outstanding place. Even if this gets approved tonight, it's not gonna be ready for opening day, and I'm a betting man, I'll bet anybody wants to bet. It's a waste of money to do all that fencing when it can be repaired. And how long have they been sitting on this grant, Harry? And now it's down to the wire, and now they wanna push it through. I'm not in favor of it.
Well, it's a 2024 grant, and, you know, we had a meeting about those grants 4 months ago or so to try to clean up these grants as quickly as possible, and they jumped on it. You know, I mean, I didn't get to address that question when Pat brought it up earlier, but yes, the grants cost taxpayers dollars, but should we not take advantage of the grants and let other towns take advantage of all the grants? They're gonna give those grants out whether we get in line or not, so we should get our fair share of it back.
Why wasn't it addressed 2 years ago when they got the grant? And it only came up in the last 3 months with the clock running out.
I wasn't here 2 years ago, and 4 months ago, you brought it up that we needed to address all these grants and get them straightened out. So now we're trying to get them straightened out.
I understand, but people sat on the grant for 2 years before it was even brought up. And if I wouldn't have asked to have a list of the open grants, nobody would even know it.
Yep.
Right? This grant was sat on for 2 years, and then the clock's running out. We printed the thing, and now it's the top priority. And it's a waste of taxpayers' dollars to do this, just to push it through to get the grant. That's all I got to say. people don't do their job, and nobody's held responsible.
Anything else?
I understand where Danny's coming from, believe me, I do, and the same thing Pat said, absolutely, grant money comes from somewhere, it does come out of our own pockets. I completely concur with him, and I would have stood up and applauded him just to show that I agree with that, but it is nice to know that tax dollars that are being collected by the state, county, wherever it comes from, is coming back to us. So even though it's not free money, at least it's tax money that we're paying out, and it's not going to another township or another jurisdiction, it's coming back to our town. So no, it's not free money. It's your hard-earned money that you're paying regardless. It's just nice to know that for a change, we're on the receiving end.
We'll see, but anybody wants to bet me that it's not ready for opening day, I'm in.
All right, and with that, I'll entertain a motion.
Skeleton crew up here. I will make a motion to approve 56/2026.
Second.
Mr. Doyle?
Yes.
Mr. Harper?
Yes.
Mr. Joey?
No.
All right, now we'll move on to ordinances to be read for public hearing. We got the second reading for ordinance 1-2026. An ordinance of the town of Pemberton, county of Burlington, state of New Jersey, amending this supplementing chapter 34 of the Township's Code of the Township of Pemberton entitled Officers and Employees, so as to repeal Article 5 entitled Defense and Indemnification and replace it with new Article 5 entitled Defense and Indemnification. Open for public comments. All right, no public comments. No public comments. Anybody from council have anything to say? All right, nobody has anything to say. I'll entertain a motion.
Make a motion to approve ordinance 1/2026.
Second.
Mr. Doyle?
Yes.
Mr. Harper?
Yes.
Mr. Joey?
Yes.
All right, next, ordinance 2-2026, ordinance of the Township of Pemberton, County of Burlington, State of New Jersey, amending and supplementing chapter 186 of the Township Code, the Township of Pemberton entitled Water, so as to revise the requirements for mandatory connections to the township water system. Public comment.
Cat 3317 Birmingham. I would just like to, repeat what Mr. Giverson had to say as far as the way this reads. It was very confusing to me also. It shows that existing homes, basically if they wanna connect, there's no application fee, but the property owner can submit an application and then they have a year to, complete the application. Just as connection shall only be required where water main is available for the front or side yard of the building. And then, once again, the part that was confusing is where it says, in the event that a property owner refuses to make connection or pay such connection fees with the actual period of time, basically there's consequences. Property owners with existing wells may continue to use such wells, but only for potable purposes. It really isn't very clear in here. It's, you know, if I lived right in that area, I would think that, I was being forced to, hook into the system, and that, yeah, I can keep my well, but I can only use my well to water the grass, I would still be required to hook into the system. Because one of the things that, Mr. Councilman Ward had pointed out was, if his well, something happened to it, and it was a simple repair, I would prefer, as someone who has well water and enjoys my well water, to be able to do that repair, not be forced to connect to, the system. So, the way this reads, it sounds like still, you know, you can't have a well repair guy come out. If something happens with your well, you're gonna be forced to hook up. So, I think it should be worded more specifically to the point that if you live there and you have a well, you can still keep your well. And you should be grandfather claused into that, whether or not it goes down, you should have a choice to fix your well, or if you want to, hook in. But, you know, it doesn't read that way. It's kinda like legal gibberish. But, I just wanted to point that out. And I know this has nothing to do with it, but with that fencing, I hope you guys kinda keep that fencing that you tear down, put the new fencing in, cause maybe that fencing could be used somewhere else. So, instead of another $100-some-odd thousand being spent for fencing that might be needed in the backyard or somewhere else. We should hold on to it, waste not, want not. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Patty. The ordinance now says, you know, only new construction has to mandatory.
It does mention existing. If you read it down, it's very confusing to me too.
But if you don't have to apply for a permit, Patty, to repair a well. So you can repair a well. Because if it goes down completely, and your well company would have to apply for a permit for a new well, then you're required to hook up.
It says property owners with existing wells may continue to use such wells for non-portable purposes, as long as they are disconnected from the portable water system. It doesn't say anywhere that, you know, everything that I read in the last one, and this one doesn't go into it, did state that if something happened to your well, then you would be forced to connect.
Yes, that's correct.
So, I mean, in the connection requirement, it doesn't state, hey, as long as you've been there and you have a well, it's yours to do what you want to until you make the choice yourself to apply to be part of it. That's how this should be worded, not just, hey, as an owner, you need to submit your application and you have a year to hook up. It doesn't say that, I mean, this is a connection requirement. So, I just think it's worded very badly. Like, it needs to be worded better to protect people like, you know, that live in that area where they don't feel like they're gonna be forced to connect to a water system that they don't want. And I know the township, you know, being that it costs so much that, they wanna try and get some revenues on it. I don't think that, I think that they should be grandfather claused in. They should have their choice. You know, they had a well when they bought it, and they shouldn't be forced to, connect into a system they don't want. So, but this is just worded very badly. So maybe if we can fix it, and rest assured, a normal person reading this, because I know a lot of these ordinances kinda is gibberish and you gotta try and figure it out. If it just says, hey, your grandfather claused if you live there, and then maybe when you sell, kinda like the oil tanks that are underground. Your grandfather claused to have your oil tank underground. The minute you sell, guess what? That tank's gotta come out. That's pretty much how it should be worded, not where it's all gibberish where you gotta try and figure it out.
Thank you, Patty.
Yep.
I agree with her. Yeah, I am well, and I think about repairs, that was brought up at the last meeting when it was first brought up, but there's nothing of that in here. Nothing in here about repairs. I think it is pretty poorly written. Sorry, I'm who wrote it.
I wrote it,
Sorry.
no, don't be sorry, that's fine, that's why you have an opportunity to speak.
And if you had 3 different lawyers, you could probably get it worded 4 different ways.
That's right.
Okay, in my opinion, it is worded clearly. It only addresses mandatory connections where those connections are required. I might say parenthetically that this ordinance is no different than the ordinance that was previously on the books, for which there was no confusion, but it would have required people to connect if they were within 200 feet. This just says you only have to connect if you're new construction. That's all. So if you have a well, you continue to use the well. If you have new construction, it's mandatorily connected. I don't see how any more clear it could be made,
So
we
it's
would
just
disagree.
kind of gray though, because.
Gray where?
Because it says, let's find there is something else going on with you. Hold on, let me find it. In the event property owner refuses to make a connection or pay such kind of, set forth in this time, that's not where it is, so. So it does say 200 linear feet, and I think maybe it was Josh Ward that mentioned that he thought it should be 100 feet, that 200 is a little too long.
But that doesn't add any confusion, that has nothing to do with
That's
the
okay.
wording of it.
That's okay.
That's a numerical designation.
That's okay, that's okay.
So it was always 200 feet.
It was.
Almost every municipality is 200.
Okay, all right. But this is in that line. Township water supply main when present, existing to be constructed from time to time. So all new construction, subject to the availability of sufficient water pressure. What is sufficient? You should quantify that. What is sufficient? And the capacity at the sole discretion of the township. That's pretty right. It really should be quantified. All new construction with 200 feet of township main water supply presently or existing to be constructed from time to time. Time to time. 10 years, 5 years, a millennium, it's really vague. Showing required where the main is blah, blah, blah.
It would only be vague if you had new construction.
So then you
It's
have
not
new
vague for
construction
people who are not
Let's say they
having
have
new
a pipe
construction.
system.
If you have an existing well, there should be no vagary involved.
Okay.
You can keep your well.
So who pays for the?
If you have new
connections?
construction, you can still keep your well. You just can't use it for potable water.
Right, I get that. So if you are required to hook up, I guess the homeowner pays for it from the street to the house?
Yep,
Correct. Correct.
connection fee, that's the way it is with water and sewer.
That's okay, I understand that, but it says pay, user fees, but is it, I didn't see that in there, spelled out.
This is only
Like
the
common
section.
knowledge. It's just like an
requires-
accepted.
Yeah, this is only, this is only the section of the ordinance dealing with mandatory connection. There's other sections of the ordinance that might specify what the connection fees are.
Is there another, ordinance that does deal with those things?
Well, this is the section of the ordinance dealing with mandatory connection.
We just changed one line in this whole thing, all the rest has been on the books.
Right.
For at least, 2 years, I believe.
Okay.
2024.
2024, okay.
Okay, so there is something somewhere else in an ordinance that does talk about.
How much
being
your
able to
connection
do
fee
repairs.
is and so forth.
That's, and being allowed to do repairs rather than replace them.
That's adjusted from
That's all-
time
that's
to
all
time.
in there.
That's where
Okay.
the time to
All right.
time comes from.
Right, that's fine. That's better. Oh, so the other thing, that I do like in here is, section C. It says, industrial and commercial establishments may make application for water systems service in addition to making written application shall furnish a detailed description of the type and size of the building, the nature of the business to be conducted in each structure of, there's a typo here, and, it says sand. The number of, and type of fixtures to be serviced. Such applicants should also furnish the water repair supervisor for copy showing blah, 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 showing, you're nailing down an industrial customer about what are they gonna use the water for? Just because, like I said before, Vineland is going through this data center thing, and they're gonna suck up a lot of water. And they lied in their application, and they got caught, and this is helpful for them. And obviously, they're gonna have to have an environmental impact statement, so that should all be in there anyway. Okay.
Anybody else for public comment?
America Phillips, ordinance number 2. I have a question. In case this house burned down and they go and rebuild the house back, then these people gotta connect to the water? Because nothing happened to the well and nothing happened to the septic system.
I don't know. Ro, would you have an opinion on that? It's not new construction, correct?
Thank you.
So it's not new construction, so it shouldn't have.
My house was.
Okay, the house burned down.
Yep.
Septic is okay, the well is okay. That means when they go and rebuild the house, and there is a connection in the corner, they don't have to be obligated to connect to that.
That's the way I would
Yes.
consider it. It's not
That
a-
would be new construction. If the house was demolished, or if it was destroyed completely in a fire, then that would be new construction.
Okay, that's important. Okay. Now I know. I know a house down the road from me burned down to the ground.
But there's no water,
There's no water
there's
out
no
there.
water out there
Yes,
where you're at.
yes, I know that, but I just give another example.
If there's no,
What
if
happened
there's no
with
water,
this,
then.
yes, I know that, okay. Well, they have their septic system and they have their well. And what happened, the house, when they rebuilt the house back, the house cannot be put where the house was before. And the reason the insurance got away with, because the septic system is over here, and the owners, they told the owner they are responsible for the septic system, because the septic system did not burn down and the well did not burn down. It was not fair for them, but this is how the insurance works. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Phillips.
I guess I should say my name again, Michelle Foreman. When you were talking earlier about 365 units, where were you talking about? Were you talking about Greenberg? Yes? Okay, will this benefit Greenberg? Because I know at one of the meetings when we were talking about this, I won't mention the man's name because he's not here tonight, but he said this is a guise, really, to provide water for Greenberg.
This is just to correct what Mr. Ward actually felt was wrong with this ordinance.
Michelle, this has to do with every house in the entire township.
If there's.
And future, and yes, I can tell you, every house at Greenberg's, all 375, are gonna have supplied water because it's being supplied by the borough.
For 5 years.
No, 20?
That's what I heard,
20
5
now?
years by borough, then we have.
It's 20 years.
Yeah, I believe we have a 20-year contract.
Was it initially 5 years and then extended it to 20?
It was initially, now it's 20.
Okay, thank you for that correction. Okay, well, I still feel like this is gonna benefit Greenberg. So, in other words, if you vote no to this tonight, will you need this to be a yes vote? In order to, hold on a second. In order to
do the various water capital improvements for $200,000 and the $1 million at New Lisbon that you wanna spend, that will be up for maybe second reading at a future meeting coming soon. What, if you say, if you need this to go through in order to pass, ordinance for 2026?
One has nothing to do with the other, Michelle. They're two separate things. One is just water in general for across the entire township. All the houses in Pemberton Township this applies to. What you're talking about is just a portion of town for a water supply. This is for construction of houses and how they're going to get their water to each individual house. If there is a pipe out in front of your home and you build a new house, you buy a lot that's empty and build a new home, you have to tie into that water because it's on your street. That's what this ordinance is saying. If you have a home, as we were just clarifying with some of the other residents, your house burns to the ground, that would be considered new construction, correct? And if there's a water line out front, you would have to tie into it.
So this is gonna benefit everybody in town, not just the people in, if you can remind me, Josh lives in what community?
Rato Village.
This is not just gonna apply to Rato Village.
It
but
applies to
apply
Pemberton
everybody.
Township, all 64 square miles,
Everybody.
where water lines already exist.
Okay, I'll tell you what, because I've been, by the way, I'm just gonna ask this simply because in the last meeting, I felt like I was being rushed during ordinance readings. And, I wanna know if there's a limit to how long I can talk on this ordinance. Because the last time I was told by the last solicitor, Mr. Bear, is during the ordinance, you're not allowed to put time restraints on my talking.
As long as you're talking about the ordinance, I don't think anybody has a problem with your questions, as long as it pertains to this ordinance.
Okay, so there are no time restraints on ordinance readings, like, so don't try to rush me. Okay, now, I go through my paperwork, I had the ordinances to 2026. It appeared to be, that was the ordinance. Now, what used to be 2026 appears to be now coming up for introduction tonight, ordinance for 2026. It's the same ordinance as the one I have at home that says ordinance 2026. Can anybody explain that?
It's two separate ordinances, one has nothing to do with the other.
I'm sorry, I can explain that.
Thank you.
Ms. Foreman, you received copies of the.
Excuse me, Amy.
Mrs.
Don't mind.
Foreman.
Thank you.
You received copies of the ordinances just prior to the last meeting, and at the last minute, the ordinances, the one that was originally 2-2026 was removed from the agenda. So yes, you did have a copy of 4-2026, labeled as 2-2026. Because you came in and got copies of the agenda and then it was amended after that. That's why you are correct, you do have a copy at home, however, the copy that is up for tonight, 2-2026, is regarding the water rates and connection.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you for explaining that. At this time, how many residents in this township will this affect? Does anybody have an approximate amount of number of residents that are gonna have to, be required to have mandatory connections to these lines? At this time, the way things are set up right now.
At this time, Michelle, we have no idea to tell you how many people are gonna build houses, how many houses, heaven forbid, are gonna burn down and have to be rebuilt where there are existing water lines. So we can't answer that question.
Okay. Just wanna make sure what's going on here. Okay. the other thing is, yeah, I still feel like there was a politician up here at one of the last meetings that said, this is a guise, to help the Greenberg. But meanwhile, I'm gonna listen to the tapes and I'm gonna read the other ordinances. I'm gonna study this, because you know I study this stuff.
No doubt.
So, is this gonna cost us any money? I mean, you're just making
This
a
could
new law, it's
potentially
not gonna
make,
cost
this
us
could
money.
potentially make us money, which means increased revenues.
Okay. So if they have to mandatorily hook up to our water system, and it's gonna cost them money, and we're gonna make money off of them, is that money going to go in the water utility? I don't know how to say this, but budget, jackpot, whatever. Is this money that we're gonna get gonna stay in the water utility for the public's water repairs for when we have problems? Is it gonna stay in this budget for just the water department so that we can have more money in our water utilities? What would that be called? Budget, okay, thank you. The reason I'm asking, okay, is because when I was listening to the CDs this week, I mean, you'll be surprised, and I'll come back with more details in another meeting, maybe. You'll be surprised at how much money they are taking out of our water utilities for other things that have nothing to do with water. And then, when the water utilities have a project, oh, by the way, it's coming up, we need $1 million for this project. Well, where's the money that's going into water utilities going? I asked you all, and I know what you're gonna say, and I trust me, I'm almost done, this part. I asked you before, because it's coming up next time, and I know you wanna shut me up, but just hold on a minute, I can read your mind. The thing is that for the next $1 million that you guys want, that was voted down twice, I asked you to have the water department come here and explain to us where the money is going to the budget for the water utilities, that they need to keep borrowing money from us for their water department. And, nobody's come back to me for an answer saying where the money's going in the water budget. I'm just saying, I'll be back with you on that. And then, you said you wrote it, but who helped you wrote it? You wrote this ordinance, did you not say that?
Yes, I prepared the ordinance.
Okay.
And it was a revision from the existing ordinance. So, when I say I prepared it, the language is identical to the previous ordinance, except it only requires new construction. So, the word new and construction is put in there.
Okay, I'll have to take a look at that.
Sure.
So, a couple meetings ago, or last meeting, we had, talked about, I'm almost done, everybody. We had talked about these water lines, and that's the night Joshua was upset because somebody told him to resign, and then it was in the paper that, whatever, they were upset because he wouldn't vote yes to this ordinance coming up, ordinance for 2026.
We're talking about two.
Okay.
And as Harry advised you, the changes that our lawyer made here were to fix some of the problems that Josh and Danny had with this.
Okay, so this is part of the same ordinance that was voted down twice.
No.
It's a totally different ordinance. It's the one that was voted down 2 times already, has nothing to do with this.
Correct.
Okay, but I'm gonna say, The one that we voted down twice, and the residents were very happy about that, is back on the agenda tonight. Even though it was already voted down twice. We didn't like that when the last administration did that, and anybody I talked to so far, we don't like it either. And that's it.
Thank you, Michelle.
Anyone else for public comment on 2-2026? Yes, sir.
Yes, how you doing? I do have a comment on that. You just said on new construction, right? Okay, that's if you build a new house. Well, what if somebody buys a modular house and puts it on the lot?
That would be new construction.
That would be considered new construction? I mean, I think people should have the choice whether they want to put a well on their new construction or not. I mean, that's a little ridiculous if you ask me, that you have to be forced to
If they put it
hook
in
up.
an area where there's no city water, they can.
Well, it should be a choice either way, just like the trash, whether you use it or not. I mean, if you don't use it, you shouldn't have to pay for it.
But then you're also, the other side of the coin on that, sir, is the township spent the money to put water supply down there, right? I'm on a well. Guess what I don't have if this storm just knocked out my power for 5 days? Guess what I don't have? I don't have water. Guess who does? Anybody who has city water. Generator backup equals power, equals pressure, equals water.
Providing the town generator doesn't go down yet.
That's the intent.
I'll still take my well water.
Seeing no more public comment, anything from the council? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll throw you something out there, Harry.
Go ahead, Dan.
This all started when the former administration and administrator lied to the council and the taxpayers. They went in there and they put city water in Roto Village, and every house there has well water. And I specifically asked, what is your purpose of running city water in Roto when everybody has wells? Oh, well, we want them to hook up. Later found out it was the gateway to Greenberg's. So we fought, Josh and myself, because it was mandatory hookup. We had it down to, if their well failed, not their pump or their tank or their pressure switch, if their well failed, they had to hook up to city water. If they sold the house, they had to put the money in escrow and for the new owner to hook up to city water. And that's the way it was written. We also eliminated the $25 application fee to hook it up. But it was the township, again, wasting money because it was a schmeek deal to get water to Greenberg's. And that's why they put water in Roto Village. Okay? That's why we got the $2 million well on county property, because that was all part of the equation to get water to Greenberg's. So I don't know, by voting yes for this, if the people in Roto Village are still protected, I don't know. I can't answer that. But it all started with the prior administration. It was a total schmeek deal. They knew exactly what they were up to, but they lied to the council and the taxpayers. That's all I got to say.
All right, thank you, Danny. And yes, this is to further protect those people over there and correct what Josh wanted corrected. Entertain a motion?
As on the lone voice tonight, I'll make a motion to approve ordinance 2/2026.
Second the motion.
Mr. Doyle?
Yes.
Mr. Harper?
Yes.
Mr. Dewey? Dan, you need to unmute yourself.
Yes.